Hello everyone, I am Simran Kaur from Shiv Jyoti Educational Group, and today we'll start our last chapter, which is chapter 18, Wastewater Story. The topics which we'll see are water, our lifeline, wastewater and sewerage, wastewater treatment, better housekeeping practices, sanitation and diseases, and alternative ways of sewage disposal. In chapter 16 also we discussed the importance of water, that water is a basic need, that for drinking, for cooking, for agricultural activities, and for generation of electricity water is used. It is used in so many activities, to do so many activities. But less than 2% of Earth's water is potable. That means only 2% water is drinkable, that is available in the form of fresh water. That's why we are asked to save water. 22nd of March every year is celebrated as World Water Day, and the intention of celebrating this day is to inspire people about the importance of water and how you can save it. The General Assembly of the United Nations proclaimed the period 2005 to 2015 as the International Decade for Action on Water for Life. As you know that billions of people do not get clean water to drink. So by this action, what was their motive? Their motive was to reduce the number of those people by half. If water is not available to 1 billion people, then by this action their motive was to reduce that number 1 billion by half. How to save water? We can save water by using water wisely and by treatment of wastewater, which we'll see in our chapter. Now, wastewater. We use water for so many activities. So after using that water becomes dirty. Now we cannot use that dirty water again. So that dirty water needs to get cleaned. So that whole procedure we'll discuss in this chapter, and that dirty water is known as wastewater. So wastewater is the water that has been adversely affected in quality by the waste materials. Waste materials are released from industries, households and agriculture. Like in our house also, suppose your mother washes dishes, then after that water becomes dirty. So that is again we are contributing in making the clean water a dirty water. So that is waste generated by us at our homes. Similarly, when you come to school, then again we are contributing in generating wastewater. Similarly, all the buildings, industries, households, agriculture, they contribute in releasing wastewater. So the waste water which is generated by us, that means by our houses, is known as a domestic waste. The waste generated by us. So here comes your first internal question, which you have to write on page 220. What do you mean by domestic waste? And mark the answer. The waste that are generated by us are called domestic waste. Now, sewage, it is wastewater having dissolved and suspended impurities released from homes, industries, hospitals, offices and other users. You have seen the drains that contains very black dirty water. That is what? That is sewage, liquid waste, and in that water dissolved impurities are present. Sewage is one of the sources of pollution, especially in urban areas. Let's say this is sewage. Let's say if the sewage is directly dumped into the river, so what will happen? We are polluting that river. So that is why sewage is one of the source of pollution. Here it is causing water pollution. Impurities present in water are known as contaminants. In sewage, in liquid wastewater, so many dirt, so many impurities are present. So those impurities are known as contaminants. Now, types of impurities in sewage, not only one type of impurities is present, different types of, we have categorized impurities into different types. First is organic impurities, in which the human waste, animal waste, fruits, vegetable waste, urea, pesticides, herbicides, all these waste contributes in organic impurities. The next type is inorganic impurities, in which nitrates, phosphates, metals are present. Then nutrients like phosphorus and nitrogen. The next category is bacteria, causes typhoid and cholera. Okay, in wastewater, bacteria is also present. So many microorganisms are also present. So they will cause disease in the human if that water is consumed by any human. And other microbes are also present, like dysentery causing organisms, etc. Now another term is sewer. Big and small pipes carrying sewage collectively forms the sewerage system. You know that in our homes two pipes are there. One carries clean water and the other one carries dirty water. So that the network of all those pipes is known as sewers. You have seen this big metal rods, metal pipes. Here you can see the network of pipes. This is sewer, and this complete system is known as sewerage system. Manholes are located at every 50 meter or 60 meter in the sewerage. The junction of two or more sewers, points where there is change in direction. Now if you have noticed that these types of holes are present on the roads. Okay, so these holes are known as manholes. Why we are calling it manholes? Because man can go directly into this hole to clean the sewage if there is any blockage. Here you can see this is the waste. This manhole is the junction of two or more sewers. Next term is sewerage. It is a transport system that carries sewage from the point of production to the point of disposal. Now we'll take our example of our homes. We are generating wastewater, okay, so that our home is the point of production. Now what happened to that wastewater? We just throw it out of the house, and how it is carried with the help of pipes. So one point is point of production. Now that wastewater is treated at some plant which makes that wastewater into a clean water. So that there is connection between point of production and point of disposal. So that complete connection, that complete transport system is known as sewerage or sewerage system. Like suppose if you have to move from Kota to some other city, then you need any transport system. Similarly, the sewage also need any transport system, and that is known as sewerage. This is point of disposal, which is treatment plant. In this we treat our wastewater, and after treating we get clean water. This is the diagram of sewerage system. These are homes which are producing wastewater. Now that wastewater with the help of pipes is going where? To the wastewater treatment plant. And you can see at one point this treatment is getting the wastewater, but from the another point it is making that dirty water clean water, and then that clean water is dumped into the rivers. Now imagine, suppose what if we will throw this dirty water directly into the river? So what we are causing? We are making this river water polluted. Now what is the purpose of treatment of wastewater? To remove contaminants, to remove all the impurities, organic, inorganic, and to make it fit for drinking or any desired use. Can you use that dirty water? No, we cannot. Not even for washing our dishes or washing our vehicles. So to make it fit for drinking or any other desired use, we treat it. Now wastewater treatment, it is the process of removing contaminants from wastewater. The contaminants can be removed by physical, chemical and biological process. Now it is not a one-step process, it needs so many steps. So those steps are divided into basically three parts: physical, chemical and biological, or we say primary, secondary and tertiary. So here comes your next internal question, which you have to write on page 221. Name 3 stages which are involved in sewage treatment and mark the answer. Sewage treatment involves 3 stages: primary, secondary and tertiary. In wastewater treatment plant, water is treated in 4 steps. First, separation of large objects, then passing of water through grit and sand removal tank, Then settlement of water in a large tank and pumping of air into clarified water. Let's look in detail now. First is separation of large objects. You know that in the wastewater, so many large objects, large materials are present which we can directly filter it. Okay, like take example of tea. Okay, while pouring it, we use that filter. So by that we are what? We are removing those tea particles directly from our tea. Same happens with our wastewater. So our wastewater is passed through bar screens, and this is our bar screen. Large objects like rags, plastic packets and napkins are separated by passing water through bar screens. Here we can collect all those large objects on the top of bar screen, and water will pass through this bar screen. The next is passing of water through grit and sand removal tank. You know that in wastewater so many small stones, pebbles that is, and grit particles are present, so that too need to be removed. So water is passed through grit and sand removal tank. In that what happens? Water is passed at a slow speed to allow pebbles and grit to settle down. This is the tank, grit and sand removal tank. Through this tank water is passed very slowly, so that all those particles, sand particles, grit, pebbles, they settle down and we get clean water. Then settlement of water in a large tank. Water is allowed to settle in a large tank which is sloped towards the middle. This is very large tank. In this, here you can see the tank is even, it has even surface, but no, at the bottom it has sloped surface and it has slope like this. Okay, so all the solid material, solid waste like feces settle at the bottom. These solid waste are called sludge. Sludge is removed with a scraper. Then a skimmer removes the floating waste like oil and grease. Water is then passed through water clarifier. This is the structure of, let's say, that tank. All the solid waste gets settled down here. Let's say this is our solid waste, and here we get water, and on the top you know that oil and grease, it is lighter than water, so a thick layer of grease and oil is formed here. So let's learn few terms. This solid waste is known as sludge, and the water which is present above this sludge is known as scum or effluent. And this oil and grease, it is removed with the help of skimmer. Now here comes your next internal question, which you have to write on page 221. Define scum or effluent. Mark the answer. The water above the sludge is called scum or effluent. That means this water. Water cleared in the water clarifier is called clarified water. The sludge is transferred to a separate tank where it is decomposed by the anaerobic bacteria. In this process, biogas is produced. As you know that sludge is solid waste and it consists of the feces, the human excreta, animal excreta. So that is organic waste. So that organic waste is decomposed by the bacteria, and what is the result of the decomposition? Biogas is produced, and that biogas is used as fuel, or it can be used to produce electricity. So ultimately we are using that waste also. Now pumping of air into clarified water. Air is pumped into the clarified water to help the bacteria grow. Bacteria consume human waste, food waste, etc. After some time, the suspended microbes settle at the bottom of the tank known as activated sludge. The water is then removed from the top. This water is then released into sea or river or soil for natural purification. So these were all 4 steps. So we can summarize all those steps in this manner also. Sewage, at the first we have sewage, the wastewater. Then we treat it through different stages. Those stages are known as primary, secondary and tertiary. Primary means the physical process in which large objects are removed like plastic bags, rags. Then in secondary, what happens? It is a biological process in which all the organic waste like human waste, animal waste, it is removed with the action of bacteria. Okay, then last is tertiary, and it is a chemical process in which we add chemicals to the water to make it clean, and at last we get clean water, and this water is sent where? To the rivers. Do you know eucalyptus trees are grown all along sewage ponds, as these trees absorb all surplus wastewater rapidly and release pure water vapor into the atmosphere. Eucalyptus tree, they are very good in absorption of water, so they are grown near the sewage pond so that they will absorb, the roots will absorb the water and they will transpire, they will give the water vapors into our environment, and that water vapor is the clean water. Now sanitation and diseases. You know that hygiene is must. If any place is dirty, then it will lead to many diseases. So it is our duty to clean the places so that no microorganism will grow there. And how do we clean? We use clean water. You cannot use the sewage water to clean your places. We need clean water. So that's why sanitation is important. Nowadays, you sanitize your hands regularly. Okay, the next, alternative ways of sewage disposal. You know that not at all places toilets are present, so what can be the other ways for the disposal of the human waste, human excreta? So for that we can use septic tank, chemical toilets, compost pit. So this is a septic tank and it is an underground pit in which the human excreta is directly stored in this septic tank, and bacteria are present here which decompose that human excreta into the humus, and we get humus which can be used as manure. Then chemical toilet, in this chemicals are used and those chemicals make the water germ free. Then this is compost pit. Again, it is also in this human excreta is stored, and again the action of bacteria works here. Another type of toilet is vermi processing toilet. In this, human excreta is decomposed by earthworms. Here earthworms are used which decompose the human excreta, and we get the vermi cakes. The thing which they produce is known as vermi cake, and those vermi cakes can be used as manure, which increases the fertility of soil. The next topic, sanitation at public places. To prevent the environment from getting polluted and to make it healthy and clean, do not drop litter. Okay, this is our habit, not mine, might be your habit, that you can throw things anywhere. Even if dustbin is available, then too some people throw packets like here and there. So stop that practice. Carry the litter to home if any dustbin is not found nearby. Yes, many of them give that excuse that dustbin is not available there. So you can carry that waste with you, okay? And wherever you see dustbin, you can throw directly there. Then contribute and coordinate with government plans. Yes, we should cooperate with government also. So that was all about your chapter 18. I hope you understood the chapter well. Thank you.